What is up, everybody? It is another beautiful Sunday morning, and you are listening to the Super Gamecast. I am your host, Bronson Fiore, joined by our lovely mod mommy, wielder of the banhammer, Emily Hulslander,
It's good to be back, boys.
and then our special guest, ever rotating special guest, Mr. Duncan Crabtree.
Hi. Camera's broken again.
Good start. Good start. I like your image though. For those of you who can see it. Yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah,
man.
that's the young patriarch of the Lee family getting slapped for his stupid behavior.
All right, I'm here for it. So hey, yeah, Duncan, glad to have you back. Poker Jack
Glad to be
Gamble,
back.
I'm here to bob and vibe. Bob and vibe. Hope you're all doing well this Sunday afternoon. Stay golden, pony peeps. Um,
Pretty golden.
we are pretty golden. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, another week happened. Aaron is not here.
Week
He is
with
in.
video games even.
Yeah, with
I know, shocking.
I played a lot of fucking video games this week. A
I played
lot.
a lot of a video game this week.
I thought it was gonna be one video game, and then it turned into three in my case. Actually four.
Mm.
But so yeah. Anyway, hey Duncan, thank you for guesting again, man. Always love having you and your insight.
Of course, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So but we're gonna get straight into the news this week because it don't really have a lot to. Actually, no, I do have a small me story. Is anyone who has been following the podcast for a while knows that I've had multiple shitty connection issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like the router just not being stable and randomly dropping connection and data spiking and all this other bullshit.
Right.
And then my
Hmm.
girlfriend has been having trouble getting connection on the other side of the house. Like
Oof.
just
Oh
no
yeah.
matter what we do. So and then the other issue is we were paying for 1 gig internet, but our router couldn't handle it. The router was capping it at like 1/3 speed. So
Oh
unless we
no.
disabled like everything except the most basic security on it, because the processor just
I
couldn't
see.
handle all the data.
Yikes.
So
So needed a new router.
yeah, we bought a $450 router that looks like a goddamn spaceship. You
That's
can
good,
see.
that's good.
Yep. You can go see it in the PC hardware channel. In fact, I'll go grab another image of it real quick to post there. For those of you who are watching this live, you can join our Discord, and you can see it there. There's a link right there. Anyone can join. You know, why are you not in the Discord if you're watching the show? But
I am
you
because
are.
I'm on the show.
You are on the show. Are you in the public Discord as well, or just the private one?
I'm in both.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. But yeah,
What
so
the
there's.
fuck is this?
It's huge. It's so fucking heavy. Oh my god. Like
Like,
what?
what the hell?
Like
It
all.
really does look like a goddamn spaceship.
Like let me pull up the image for the show. You know what? Fuck it.
For those that are under, for those that want to know why I had that
Yeah.
response.
Yeah. That's it right there.
It
Yeah.
does look like a spaceship. That is certainly spaceshipish.
Yeah. So yeah, and Poker is in our Discord. He's a cool dude. He's got a cool vibe. He plays Dulcim and makes people angry in Street Fighter.
Nice,
Uh
nice. That's a good strategy.
yes. So yeah, no. It's a fucking goddamn spaceship, and I kind of got the hint that we went overkill on this when I went to go do setup for it, right?
Right?
And
Hmm.
it's like, yo, what client devices are hooking up to this? Implying that this is a router meant for a business.
Yeah, it's like, all right, and now
What the shit?
what other connecting systems are you gonna have on this?
Yeah. So, but I tested it. We have perfect signal on the entire property now. Even
That's
going
great.
out into the yard. And It also does Wi-Fi 6E, even though we only have one device that supports that, and it's my Steam Deck.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's cool. We
Pretty
have
nice.
yeah, we have 4 Wi-Fi connections. This thing is fucking huge. It even has RGB lighting. Like you can I have it
Because
turned
you
off.
gotta get the gamer lights on it. You gotta get a couple gamer lights in there.
Yeah, no, I need, between my girlfriend's computer and mine, really need to make this office look like a rave.
I'm
Uh,
waiting eternally for RGB lights to like cycle out of public popularity because like everything I buy for my computer has some kind of RGB light on it somewhere because
um,
gamer.
uh,
Uh,
you know what's
but I
funny
need to
is,
sleep.
so even shit that I did not buy for my computer has it now. Like I bought a new TV stand, back in April when we were redoing the living room, and the TV stand
Hmm,
has RGB.
No kidding.
interesting.
Yep, like it'll like all the little cubbies where the consoles and like your mixer go and shit,
The
your
RGB
Mm-hmm.
light up.
receiver. Yeah, yeah, all those little they light up and it has a little rave mode and you can set different colors and shit.
I think it's
Um,
likely just a relatively cheap way to make yourself look futuristic on account of just how cheap LEDs are.
yeah, I think so too. Um, I will say this, as someone who likes to sleep in an armchair in the living room, having the option to turn red light on helps. Because you know how blue light keeps you up?
Mm-hmm.
Red light does the
Yeah.
opposite, as it turns out.
Um, the scientific research body behind the history of whether or not blue light keeps you up is interesting. It is it maybe does that, uh, but I would say those glasses that people often like advertise or recommend to help you with blue light,
Mm.
those don't actually do anything.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
there's no scientific evidence that they help whatsoever.
Gunner glasses. I remember those getting advertised. Like, I remember,
Right, they were everywhere.
I knew this pro COD player. Her gamer tag was Miss Violence, and she was
Mm.
really big in like the early 2010s, and she like advertised those, and I'm like, these seem really like dumb and a waste of money.
Yeah,
Um,
it's because light doesn't actually prompt anything when it goes into your eyes. The evidence about blue light making people stay awake is that the wavelength comparatively to other wavelengths slightly inhibits the process by which we form melatonin in our body. Uh, and melatonin itself isn't actually what makes you tired, which is why also melatonin pills, for example, when you take them, they don't actually make you sleepy. It's the formation of melatonin in your body, that process that makes you tired, which is somewhat interrupted more than by other light by blue light. But it's only somewhat marginally so, but it's on your skin. It's just it hitting you at all. So if you wear glasses that specially uh, do something with blue light, it's not actually going to do anything particularly different for you because that's only your eyes.
hmm. So,
Interesting.
huh. All right. I learned something today. Neat.
Wearing sunglasses in general, though, can help with eye irritation when it comes to long periods of viewing because it reduces the amount of light your eyes are intaking.
Hmm. Huh. Um. So yeah. All right. Well, the more you know.
Yeah. But what
But
happened with video games this week?
what happened with video games this week is Sony fucked up a lot, like
Yeah, they tend
consecutively
to.
in a row.
I
Like,
mean, look, they don't have any IPs, you know?
we'll
Which is
get
a
to
load of
the.
horseshit.
Look, guys,
We got
that's not
all.
that's
I
not the
don't have
first
enough
story.
IPs, guys.
That's not the first story, but yes, we're gonna get there. So,
We're gonna get to that story in a minute.
What are we
First and
gonna
but
do?
foremost,
the first news story is hey, so their new IP Concord came out a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
under 2 weeks ago, and as of September 6th, So 2 days ago, as of time of recording this podcast, the cord is getting pulled. It's dead. It's dead, Jim.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It had under 25k people buy the game, which is like abysmally bad. Like
Staggering numbers.
To put this in perspective, Yakuza 4 in America nearly killed the franchise in America because it only sold 15k copies. Another good example of this is Halo Infinite. At the time of this video, a 3-year-old video game has 5,000 people playing it on any given day, and it is very much pissed off the community immensely. So to have a brand new game launch and only have
25k total, which means
total.
It's not even its peak concurrent. Its peak concurrent is like microscopic.
It's like 2k, I think. Wasn't that, or that was the beta? That was the beta, right? Anyway.
Yeah, because its beta was significantly more successful than its game launch, which is itself hilarious.
Oh yeah, because the game was $40, and no one wants to pay $40 for a hero shooter, especially after Overwatch went free.
I mean, in general, honestly, I don't want a hero shooter at all anymore. My appetite for it was long since satiated.
See, I was saying that, and then I saw Marvel Rivals, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm in."
Yeah, you do like them comic book boys. You go, oh, I could be a Hulk though.
I can be a Venom or a Spider-Man's or an Iron Man's, and I get all excited.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But that's what you need. Is you need a big. Okay, I didn't want to play a hero shooter, but that's what's required now.
Yes, and also seeing people like use Doctor Strange to drop portals and use portals to drop people off cliffs is fucking hilarious.
And as many people have pointed out too, Deadlock coming around right when this happened is probably bad also for them. You know, that honestly, that just having a invite gimmick system, I got an invite from you in my email, which made me consider playing it alone.
Yeah. Oh no, I anyone who's been on the podcast or is a follower on the Twitch, I sent an invite to.
Yeah.
So.
And so yeah, the timing just couldn't have been worse. And then they're immediately like, it is a surprise that they're not like, all right, let's keep servers up. But it's probably just because 25k is such a staggeringly tiny amount of people that they're like, this doesn't even recoup the cost of keeping the lights on.
Right. And like they don't have a battle pass, and they don't have any way to monetize in post because they never intended to. So it's like
Because
it's not
they
even
wanted
worth
to have you pay $40.
Yes, which I think that is a better method. But I think the biggest problem with this game is just it looks bland as fuck. Like none of the
characters.
Like when I remember first seeing Overwatch and thinking Tracer and Reaper and Winston all look fucking awesome. Like I remember the first time I saw those characters and I'm like, these characters look sick as fuck. I looked at the roster of Concord and I'm like, this is one of the fucking lamest goddamn rosters I've ever seen.
You know, I feel like the terrible barometer by which we live with is that if an internet freak has not 100% recreated a 3D model of your character within a week, your character does not look good enough to be in like a hero shooter or a protagonist of something.
If someone doesn't want to rule 34 your character, then it's not good enough.
Right, especially for a hero shooter. That's how Overwatch got popular, basically.
People wanted to fuck all those characters. They wanted to fuck them all.
And you know, it's just the price of entry at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like to put this in perspective, like Justice League's all-time peak was like horribly bad. You know, like 12,000. And this one's Steam peak was 700. And
Wow, 700.
Yeah, well, and we don't have hard numbers for PlayStation, But like apparently most analysts estimate PlayStation is probably somewhere at a peak of like 1,500.
And like so many of the people that are engaging with this game are probably doing so out of I'll burn $40 to see that thing die. You
Well,
know,
I
like
think it's
that I feel like that's like almost a majority.
so like I think it's kind of one of two things. It's either I'll spend $40 to watch this thing die, and or it's I'll spend $40 because I trust Sony's first party output because it's been so good.
But
Um,
that's seemingly a mistake in this instance. But at least they're refunding people.
yes, which good on Sony for that. They're like, we fucked up in backing this so fucking badly. Look,
Hmm.
we'll refund you. We're gonna cancel the game. We're sorry. Um, the crazy part about this game took 8 years to make. It took eight
Yeah, it's a long
years,
time.
8 years and $200 million, and it
Which always makes me feel it took 2 years, and that they made like two other full games in the meantime that they completely scrapped.
probably. But anyway, so and then it only lasted 11 days. It didn't even last 2 weeks.
My major worry with a thing like this is that it's gonna result in more canceled projects overall. In that the thought, obviously, when you release a game like this is, okay, maybe we just get it out the door, even if it's gonna be a failure. Even if it's gonna be a failure, we can at least try and recoup some costs by pushing it out the door. And I think this resoundingly was not even worth pushing out the door. Like, 25,000 total copies sold is worth probably less than an extra month of development cost it would cost to put it out.
Well, like let's see. So you're at $40 a piece. Sony's the publisher, so they keep everything. Yay. So we'll do 40 times 25,000. They made $1 million on this. You know,
Yeah,
so
I could see a
249
Sony
million
studio
in the hole.
costing over $1 million a month to keep running
Oh yeah,
for
easily.
development.
So
Yeah,
I
so
think that
they didn't even make that back.
well, I think that Sony did a really big bet on live service in a big way.
Hmm.
They were committed to launching six, or sorry, they're just 12 live service games by the end of March 2026. And
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
yep, so the six of their 12 live service games are supposed to come out by March 2026, and they put out three this year so far. And Foam Stars is going free to play soon. It's not doing well.
Yeah,
Because the people who want to play Splatoon are just gonna go play Splatoon.
yeah, it's over
Like,
there. It's over
li-
there, and they have Nintendo Switches.
like I
Everybody's
like
got
well,
one of those.
everyone's got one, and like Splatoon just looks more appealing, and like I like Splatoon a lot. Splatoon's one of Aaron's favorite shooters.
Yeah, it's a cool
Um,
Mm-hmm.
little game. It's a cool little. It's got style. It's good.
yeah, has catchy as fuck music that makes you feel like you're kind of going crazy a little bit.
Yeah,
But like Splatoon is a very popular game, and like they didn't do anything new from you know they didn't do anything new, and it's just like, well, why would I play the we have Splatoon at home when everybody and their mother owns at least one Switch per
yeah,
household? We have two in our house. And if I didn't sell my old one when I bought an OLED, we'd have three. So it's like, well, fuck. Why the fuck do we I can just go play Splatoon, which has more style. And then Helldivers, which Helldivers is doing well still. Like, even with all the drama and other bullshit that went with it, Helldivers 2, at least on Steam, is still doing pretty good numbers. Like, 22K is nothing to sneeze at as of 24 hours ago.
that's almost a whole Concord playing right now.
Yeah, and not only that, but like this doesn't include the numbers on the PlayStation. That's just the Steam numbers.
Yeah,
So You know, like Helldivers 2 did really well for them, but now this, and it's just like Destiny is circling the drain. We have no idea how Marathon's gonna do. So it's like, it's like that these live service bets are not working out for them, and I'm gonna be, they canceled that Last of Us multiplayer. They're working on a Last
Mm,
of Us multiplayer game, which was a bummer because I loved the first one's multiplayer. Like I'd love to see that fleshed out more. Who doesn't want to play Bum Fights the video game?
right.
You
I
know.
feel like these major publishers, when they're taking these big bets, like 6 years into the future, because they see a cool thing happen one time, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, let's do that after it's relevant." Uh, I feel like instead they should just make one psycho out there decision for every live service game Sony would have made. They should have chosen to make some multiplayer crazy thing instead. I feel like what they should be betting on is, all right, live service is gonna die. Let's release the thing that's gonna be the new trend by mm, shooting out 10 psychotic random bets.
So that's what PlayStation used to do. Like you go look at the PS1, the PS2, the PS3, and I'm gonna get into this more when we talk about the Astrobot and the IP story. But like you go and you look at PlayStation's history, especially the PS1 and PS2, it was just like, fuck it, we're just gonna publish like 100 games and hopefully one of them works out, or a handful of them work out. And often they did, and they made a fuck ton of money and a bunch of classics. But now, like, for some reason, the strategy has become, yo, dog, let's spend $200 million on one game. Like it's like literally going to a blackjack table and like put it all on black.
Yeah, I feel like
Or,
I feel
or
like doing
craps table,
something
sorry.
stupid like going
Right.
and saying like, all right, let's put that 200 million instead of into Concord. Let's shoot that into like a persistent world PvP MMO. Just something that like isn't very out there, on the market right now, and could make a bajillion dollars if it was great and a bunch of people got obsessed with it. Just shoot a bunch of those out.
Well, like, or to give you an example, Ghost of Tsushima cost $60 million to make. You could make
Yeah,
3 Ghost of Tsushimas for 1 Concord.
yeah. And they also have uh, all these other games they could be making from the giant graveyard of IPs that they've been just
Right.
absolutely like dragon hoarding in their
It
hole.
it is wild to me that like Concord got approved and made instead of them going, "Hey Insomniac, can you take we have a side studio, like a side team of yours, work on a new Resistance, or hey, do you mind just getting another dev to do a new Resistance game or a new Killzone game? 'Cause like Killzone was very popular. Like Killzone was like doing copies in the millions. Like you could easily go like I don't think you
Hmm.
could do a hero shooter with Killzone, but I think you could do a really fucking good multiplayer shooter and even a battle royale with Killzone or an
I mean, you could
extraction
make more
shooter
than
with Killzone.
Concord.
You know, you could probably
Yeah.
make 3 Killzones for the cost of a Concord. So yeah, which brings us to our next story here. Hey, Hiroki Totoki, the CFO, I believe, yes, CFO of Sony, says, and I quote, whether it's for games, films, or anime, we don't have much IP that we fostered from the beginning. We're lacking the early phase of IP, and that's an issue for us. Uh, and it seeks to rival its competitors. And man, this is such a horribly bad take. Um,
Yeah.
now he is referring to the business as a whole, which and like the scale of Mario, which like
Because
outside
he's
of
he's Sony in general, not Sony video game division specifically.
right, but like even if he is talking about but like even if you apply this to video games alone, like they have a lot of franchises that sold in the millions and millions of copies, like that did
Mhm.
like exceptionally well. Um, you know, like I played Astrobot this weekend and I've been having a great time with it, like the new one. And you know, they sold, you know, like that game is so wildly depressing to play because it is
Yeah.
just this love letter to like all these games they either co-published or published and made, like Vib Ribbon and Unjimmer Lammy, Parappa the Rapper, Jack and Daxter, fucking Sly, Ratchet, you know, Resistance, Killzone, you know, Days Gone, like that, like just the, you know, like they, like I said, they have over 150 characters in it, and for the, you know, Sackboy, and then for them to go like, oh, we don't got enough IP, bro, we don't got enough IP, you know, like we don't got enough. No,
Were
you know.
I to steel man this man's position,
Uh-huh.
I would say that he's probably, in reference to not just IP in general, he
Hmm.
probably means to say we don't have enough uh major relevant IPs, right?
Yes, like if you want to talk about like major IPs, like the article that we have linked in the Discord is you know they reference like Spider-Man and Mario level. And it's like yeah, if that's
Right.
the that at that level they basically have Uncharted, The Last of Us,
I
and
think yeah, I think he's referring to it like I think the way he's talking about it, it's if it drops under top 20 in the world, it shoots under his radar in this instance. So he's like, yeah, we don't have enough original IP when he's like really means we don't have enough super mega giants that consume the world.
yeah, they basically have Last of Us and Gran Turismo. That's
Yeah.
it. That's kind of what they have for that. You know, because they don't
Mhm.
own Spider-Man. They have the movie rights to Spider-Man, but you know,
And even then, only kinda.
yes, and but like, okay, so like, you know, so you know, like they ask what is Sony Pictures without Spider-Man? Hotel Transylvania? Question mark. And it's just like,
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, even now with they quote unquote have Spider-Man, as in they're making a bunch of movies orbiting around Spider-Man, but they made a deal that they can't make Spider-Man movies, so they're like, uh, you're the Madam Web.
right, and then you go, you know, you go and look at their movies division, and it's just awful. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Like I pulled up their movies list here, and like, okay, the new Bad Boys movie that was sick. Yes, okay, cool. But it's
Mhm.
like, y'all really want to go see Craven the Hunter?
Eh.
You want to
Yeah, yeah,
see,
not hankering for it.
you know, you want to see Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson in Fly Me to the Moon?
Right.
Y'all want to go see the Garfield movie?
I mean, gotta Garf down.
Uh,
Everybody's gotta Garf down a little bit though, right?
you know, hey
Eh.
man, we can go see Darkness of Man with John Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Oh man,
yeah, you know, the
Ghostbusters
only thing I'll
Frozen
participate in there is
Empire.
the Garfield. Oh, Frozen Empire. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's the big seller.
Do you want to see like a 80-year-old Bill Murray be a Ghostbuster?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I do want them to drag that out of its grave and
Just,
kick that dead horse a little bit more.
just make it judder. Make the horse judder a little bit. Just. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, no, they're like their movie division. Their TV division's actually pretty okay. Like when you look at their TV division, it's actually like pretty solid. Like Shark Tank is popular, whether you know we like it or not. Like they're the Cobra Kai people.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, like you have to remember they do The Boys. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
and you know the
Sony.
boys is really good.
Yeah, like they, you know, Sony Pictures Television is kind of killing it. You know, Last of Us was a very popular TV show. Um, you know, they own
I mean, as
Crunchyroll.
as a weirdo that's only really engaging with anime at any given time, the fact that I am familiar with at least two of their shows, actively speaking, is a testament to how well they're doing. The fact that I've watched The Boys and that I am planning to watch The Last of Us, I think is a good sign for them in my eyes, because I don't usually watch regular TV.
Well, so one thing that kind of showed me that their TV division is really on fire is I had very low hopes for that Twisted Metal show. I thought it was
Mm.
going to be really, really bad.
But then you're
Uh,
like, oh, hey.
and it was actually like really good. It was really, really good.
That's unexpected. I feel like Twisted Metal is like not a thing anyone would really do well.
Yeah. You know, so it's yeah, man. Like they have a lot of good stuff, you know, and it's like on the TV side, I don't know what it is about movies where they can't get their shit together. I know I know that they have talked about a The Boys movie. Like that is something that they have talked about.
I could see a movie fitting in there in that they like have they have a lot of room for side stories in the setting,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't know if a movie as part of the primary story is necessarily a good idea.
Yeah, well, I know that there have been several stars saying we'd love to end the series with a movie. We'd love
Yeah, a finale movie could work for sure.
yeah. So yeah, so but like on the you know we're focused on games and from the gamer standpoint of this, this fucking sucks because Sony owns a lot of really sick IP and they just don't use it. And I
Yeah.
realize that you need studios to be able to use it, and games take forever to make. But they could have saved the 7 billion they spent on Bungie, and the 250 million they spent on Concord, and use that to make a bunch of smaller games. Um, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I just want people to sell their IP. I want IP to get sold more often.
oh, that's never gonna happen.
It'd be great. Be in a better world to live in which people go, all right, you can make Gex now,
Who
and then they let
owns
somebody else
Gex
do
now?
that. I have no idea who owns Gex now.
Square Enix.
Squeenix. Oh.
Square Enix owns Gex now. Interesting.
And they've been selling a ton of IP.
Yeah, apparently it was owned by IDOS, and they own it. Apparently, when Embracer Group bought Crystal Dynamics and some of their IP, they did not choose to buy Gex. So,
Sorry, we'll
um,
pass on the Gex. Just the Gex.
yeah, like no, you can keep that. Um,
That's hilarious.
so yeah, you know, like I think about like once again playing Astrobot and like seeing Sly Cooper and seeing you know Killzone and Little Big Planet and Fat Princess and just all these goddamn games, you know.
It just sell Little Big Planet to somebody who really wants another Little Big Planet to come out.
You
Just
know.
sell it. You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, so just
Well,
let somebody else make it.
well, okay. So the thing is like IP is super valuable, and they don't want to give that up. But
You
okay,
know.
that's fine. But like license your IP then. Do it. Do what goddamn Warhammer is doing. It's like, oh, you want to pay for a license? Yeah, fuck it, sure. Make a game. Here you go.
Yeah.
You know,
You know.
and I,
Everybody could use a new Vegas.
you know, yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know why. Like, I understand from a quality control standpoint why you don't license IP that way. Like, I
Hmm.
really do. Like, I completely understand from a quality control standpoint.
In fact, once again, the example of Warhammer
Yes, but then you get
is
shit
good
like.
to point to.
But then you also get shit like Space Marine 2.
Yeah. Uh, It's just, Warhammer being synonymous with the bad game, like a stamp of this game's probably bad for a period of time.
Well,
Uh, it was something they've had a hard time recovering from, uh, unto now, where they've been actually letting good studios make good games.
and I feel like that's on Sony as a publisher at that point to go and say, "Hey, Mr. Third Party who wants to license Sly Cooper, if we need to vet you and have some level of control over this because we want to
Yeah.
make sure that it is a good product."
I think
And
Sony could absolutely do it because Games Workshop is like a wildly incompetent, crazy people land, and makes bad decisions constantly. So that's really why all the games were bad, is because they were like, anybody with the money to pay us can make a Warhammer game, rather than like going, we're gonna search for people to make Warhammer games. And Sony wouldn't do that. Sony wouldn't go, yeah, sure, you got 10 grand, make whatever you want.
yeah, Sony I feel like would go out and try and find like the Hitman guys and be like, "Yo, Hitman publisher and Hitman developer, y'all want to make a Sly Cooper game?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities they could do, but then you got to get somebody to go do it, and the company just feels like we should let the same people do exactly whatever they're doing right now, and we'll fire 30 guys also.
I would just like to say I hate that they switched from Sony Computer Entertainment to PlayStation Studios. I hate the name change and I hate the vibe change.
Yeah, it is a weird change.
It feels like a movie studio instead of like a game publisher. You know,
Yeah.
like. Also, maybe it's just my nostalgia of booting up PS1 through 4 games and seeing Sony Computer Entertainment presents. You know,
Yeah, I mean, look, PlayStation Studios is a demonstrably easier to say name. I think
yeah,
they have good reason to do that,
look,
but
but
change
man,
bad. I hate change.
yeah, I'm about to be, I'm gonna be 34 in a month. I don't like change.
Right.
This sucks. This is bad.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know, Em. What's your take on this? Because I know you're a big, 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 big PlayStation fan.
Yeah, I guess you can consider me a Sony fangirl.
A PlayStationer.
Um, I
What? Wait,
mean,
Duncan. What was your comment?
I said a PlayStationer.
Yes, a PlayStationer. Continue what you were saying, though.
I almost lost my train of thought. Yeah, he's he has a point with not enough IP, but you also have to look at all the fans who are just like, where's Sly Cooper? Where's Infamous? Where's Killzone? Where's Resistance? Where the fuck are all of these that we have so much love for and y'all ain't giving it shit?
I
Yeah, they're really resting on their laurels with those.
well, and I think that like they don't have enough studios to do it because like you look at their studios list and they have, oh, let's see, I believe they have 19 studios in total, including XDev, which is to help get indies to make games on PlayStation.
Hmm.
So, and then you have Nixies, which is a port house to help port games to PC, and Valkyrie Entertainment, which is also a port house. So really, they have even less than that, and it's like, like it's like, all right, what are we gonna spend our time and money on? I do miss, Astrobot like showing like being like, look at all this cool shit we did does make me miss the days of PlayStation when they would not. It makes me miss the days of PlayStation when they would do shit like, okay, we're gonna publish like 10 games and see what hits, and we're able to do that because they don't all cost $100 to $300 million to make.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, but that's not the world we live in anymore. You know.
Yeah. Every game needs to be the 8th most expensive game ever developed.
Well, so the thing is though is like even like you look at like Returnal, right? Like that was a really good game they put out earlier this generation. I personally don't like it because it's a roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that the core gameplay loop is good. It's just I don't particularly like roguelites. And that game, you know, cost $10 million to develop, and that was a perfect example of taking a small shot and seeing if it does well, and the game did well.
Yeah, and I
Um,
didn't play Returnal, but I watched a great video essay about Returnal, and so it's a success in my eyes.
you should probably play Returnal. It's on PC.
Yeah, I should probably play
It,
Returnal. It's
it's
fun.
it,
And I
it,
don't dislike roguelikes. I've been playing a ton this week.
you'll probably really love Returnal then. It like I said, I played a good chunk of it, and I was like, I like all of this except for the roguelike part. So this is cool. But yeah, so it's like they have, you know, so in, you know, it's just that they PlayStation during the PS4, late PS3 generation, kind of made their bread and butter these big cinematic experiences. And those cost all the money in the world to make and time. You know,
Yeah.
like a lot of time. Like you look at, you know, like what was it? Sony Santa Monica's last game came out in 2022. It was God of War Ragnarok. I am betting you we won't see their next game until 2027 at the soonest. At the
At the
Yeah.
soonest.
absolute earliest, 2027.
Mhm.
I am like Naughty Dog put out Last of Us 2 in 2020, and they did a remake of Last of Us 1 with a help from another studio, and a port of Last of Us 2 to PS5. But like it, you know, it's been 4 years, and we have no idea what the fuck they're working on right now. We don't know if it's Last of Us 3. We don't know if it's Uncharted 5. We don't know if it's a new Jak and Daxter. We have no
Which,
fucking idea.
is pretty unusual. Normally we know a little bit about what's going on everywhere, but they're I don't know what they're doing.
Like they canceled that like thing that their side team was working on with with that Last of Us multiplayer, and I know some of their studio helped on the TV show of Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like we have no idea what Naughty Dog is doing otherwise, which is a shame because that's a, you know, if you would have asked me before this generation what Sony's best studio is, I would have said Naughty Dog. Now I think it's Insomniac easily. You know, and I need to know what the fuck Insomniac is doing to be so efficient. Because if you look at Insomniac this generation, they are not just like a premier studio for Sony, they're a premier studio, period. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they put out Miles Morales in 2020, Ratchet and Clank in 2021, Spider Man 2 in 2023, and if that leak that came out last year is true, Venom is going to come out next year. And then Wolverine the year before that. So from 2020 to 2026, they've put out a game every year except for 2022 and 2024.
Pretty wild.
That's
That's pretty out
nuts.
there.
That's fucking crazy. And they remastered Spider-Man 1 during all that.
Yeah. They're on something over in Insomniac, and
Like,
kudos.
and like I'm curious what a lot of these fucking studios are doing. Cause like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Sony Ben, they put out Days Gone. No idea what else they're doing right now. You know, Blue Point is working on a new IP apparently. A lot of people thought they were, you know, they did the Demon Souls remake, but that came out almost 4 years ago now. You look at Fire Sprite, no idea what the fuck they're working on. They did that Horizon VR game. They are a VR studio, and PSVR is dying. I think they're gonna get closed down soon.
Games are
Fire,
better. Yeah.
you know, Firewalk is the Concord people.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Studio Walking. Gorilla made a Horizon game 2 years ago. we'll see. And they put out a Horizon DLC last year.
Hmm.
You know, I wish they would work on Killzone. That's what I want. I
I
want
think
them to
what's
go
really
back to
going to
me.
save Sony is that Naughty Dog is obviously secretly making the Crash Bandicoot MMO. That's what they have to be doing, right?
No.
I think he's being facetious, M.
Saves the
Okay, because I
company
was
the
gonna
Crash
say,
Bandicoot MMO.
Crash is
Partnering.
over with Xbox now.
Yes.
No, they took it back. They took it back. The Crash Bandicoot MMO. It's what's gonna Sony $6
Oh,
zillion.
Jesus
Um,
fuck.
Haven Studios. We have no idea what they're working on. Um, Housemarque put out Returnal. Apparently, they're working on a sequel, according to what rumors are saying.
And people like that game.
Yep, and it was cheap to make. It was only 10 mil. By today's
Yep.
standards, that's exceptionally cheap.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Insomniac is golden. Media Molecule put out Dreams. They just ended support on Dreams. Like, it's in maintenance mode now. No idea what the fuck they're doing. No.
Yeah.
Like no idea. It's been, I think Dreams came out in 2020, 2021, something like that. So there's that. Nixie's is a port house. Naughty Dog we already talked about. I didn't even know they owned this fucking studio. It's called Neon Koi. Formerly known as Savage Game Studios.
What do they
Um,
make?
Nothing so far.
They just make. They're just still on it. Still going.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yep. So action
I mean, they
games with
must have been all right at it.
action games. Let's see. So their tagline is they're making an action game with an epic story. So, and they're apparently
see.
in Berlin. Polyphony Digital, that's the Gran Turismo people. Hey, the new Gran Turismo was really good.
They do the car. They do the car.
Uh, uh, Look, there is an art to making a car game. The new Forza was a piece of shit. The new Gran
Yeah,
Turismo was good.
gotta make that car go good in a way that doesn't upset the people who love the car.
Yeah, no, like I would love to have Anthony on this show to like explain to you and everyone else why Gran Turismo 7 was a good game where Forza that came out last year is a piece of garbage. The best way I can describe it is every car in the new Forza feels the same versus Gran Turismo they feel like their actual real world counterparts.
That is
So,
better. That is the whole point of the car game, is that for it to feel like how the car does. And if it doesn't accomplish that, what are you doing? Like, why are you here?
um, Sony San Diego makes the baseball game. That's all they do.
Oh, so they
Uh,
make all the money. Okay.
yep. Sony Santa Monica just put out God of War 2 years ago, and they put out that roguelite God of War mode last year in like December. So
So
like
they're making the rest of the money.
yeah, they're apparently working on a new IP. That's their
Interesting.
confirmed thing. So new IP from them. Sucker Punch put out Ghost of Tsushima 4 goddamn years ago now.
Yeah. It was 4 years this last June, I think is what it was.
Yep, I remember because it came out right after Last of Us 2.
Right.
By all
And
accounts, they can just coast off of that. That is good enough.
so they put out the director's cut and the multiplayer the following year.
Mm-hmm.
So they got time. I know that it's been a little bit. I have a feeling, and this is once again just a feeling, that they're gonna announce PS5 Pro this year, and I think one of the games they're gonna use to showcase it next year, besides Grand Theft Auto, is the second Ghost of Tsushima.
I
That is
say
my
the rumor mill is working hard right now.
yeah. I really wish my friend McKenna still worked there, um, because that way I could find out. versus I don't know. She went to go work for some indie studio, and I'm like, well, that's far less
Ugh.
interesting for me.
Damn it. Making good decisions for your career. How dare you?
Yeah. I don't know. She worked on Guild Wars for like ever, and then went to go work for Sony, and then is on some indie studio now.
Yeah.
Good for her though. Um, I remember when Ghost of Tsushima came out, like I immediately got a text like the next morning being like, when she saw I was playing it, be like, "So what do you think so far?" so,
So.
and I'm like, I'm loving
Mhm.
it. When I'm done, I'll have you on the podcast. And it's like, I'm not one of the people who's certified to talk about the game, but I'll see.
Sorry, I cannot.
It's like,
Damn.
oh yeah, no, dude. Let me tell you, that's the hard part about working with AAA is they lock you down real hard if you're not one of the PR people. So Sony's PR team is like super intense about it too. I actually applied to be a community manager for Sucker Punch. Fun
Oh.
fact. Like when I got
That'd
laid
be
off.
cool.
Yeah, like when I got laid off back in April, like that was one of the jobs I applied to
Oh
to
yeah.
be to be a CM for them. Didn't get the job.
Wow,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, I actually found out who did though, through another friend of mine. So,
Oh
uh,
shit.
yeah.
Okay.
If there's one thing you learn about the game industry, it's like disgustingly small.
Mm.
I'll know each other.
Yeah, like it's really weird. Like I am not like super well known, but like I was in it at a big enough place long enough where there are some people who still recognize me, and it's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Okay, Valkyrie Entertainment does ports to PC, and then XDev
Games
is
do need to be ported.
yep, they are doing God of War Ragnarok for PC, which is coming out later this month. And then they do XDev, and then there's XDev, which is their indie port house. So it's like I want to know what the fuck all of these studios are doing, because it feels like over half of them are just doing nothing. Yeah.
And they certainly, as we've established, have enough IP to keep them all occupied.
Yes, you could easily go to Ben's studio and be like, "Yo, dog, new siphon filter. Hey, Fire Sprite. Hey, how about you make this new Resistance? Or
Yeah.
just find out what they'd want to make out of the just absurd back catalog this they have. You know, So like,
Though I don't dislike the sentiment of a bunch of new IP coming out of Sony. I like new IP existing.
I do too, but like there are a lot of series that haven't gotten new games in a long time. How sick would a new Fat Princess be? A
I mean,
second
that
Fat
would be pretty
Princess.
cool.
A new Twisted Metal, a new SOCOM, Resistance, a new Patapon. A
Uh,
new
I think in this case the solution though is, as we were saying before, is be more willing to license,
yeah, I agree.
and then we can get those new games. And they can still satisfy their never-ending hunger for new IP.
Yes, and the thing about this that like I said, playing Astrobot made me wistful for like PS1 to PS3 Sony, where like they would go fund a bunch of first and second party games, and they were not, they were all relatively affordable, sub $50 million, and you'd get like 3 or 4 or 5 amazing hits a year. Like I'm working on ranking the PS2, a series where I play as many PS2 games as possible and rank them, and I'm 9 games deep so far, and like, dude, the PS2's library is so fucking good because of this. It's
If you ever get
so
around to
fucking good.
Dokapon Kingdom,
What?
I said let me know whenever you get around to Dokapon Kingdom.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't think I have that one on the emulator yet. I should go grab that.
Yeah, you can emulate it on the Wii also.
Well, yeah, but we
The
do the
Wii
we do
PS2
the
release.
yeah, we do the PS2 versions of games only. We don't do ports.
Yeah. Uh,
So
I'm down. I'm down to play it with you whenever you get there.
all right, fantastic. But yeah, like they own Klonoa. I didn't even know they fucking owned Klonoa.
Yeah.
Like it's, go
Wasn't
talk to.
there a new Klonoa a while ago?
I think it was a
Didn't they do
port.
something? I
I think
remember some Klonoa happening at one point.
I want to say that was a port. I really do. I want to say that was an HDified port.
That would make sense.
Um, but yeah. So I don't know, man. Bring back SingStar. I like karaoke.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, there's a they are, as we've established, filled with options.
yes. One of those options includes putting out a goddamn pro console, apparently.
Yeah, it seems like they are planning to do so. Not unexpected.
No, one thing I can really say about the PS5 generation, it feels like they're just trying to do everything they did on PS4 just again. Which
I mean,
means
PS4 is really successful.
it is, but the market has changed a little bit.
A
So,
little.
Yeah, but
uh,
what I closed my eyes and I plugged my ears and I didn't think about that. I think that's the Sony strategy here.
um, that's what it feels like. And to be fair, the console is selling better than PS4 did,
Yeah.
which is even though it's more expensive and they haven't cut price, and in my opinion, the library isn't as strong.
Mm.
Especially coming from them. Um, oh, before we actually go into this story, though, regarding Sony and not having IP, they just announced their 30th anniversary event. Like their PlayStation turns 30 this year, everyone. Just so you know, if you
Wow.
want to feel old.
It's still older than me.
I
Yep.
mean, I'm only a couple years older than fucking Sony. So
I
I'm
was
four.
-4 when the PlayStation came out.
I was 4 when the PlayStation came out.
I was
So
2.
but they announced what they're doing. So Astrobot is part of that, and they have a little 30th anniversary video with Astrobot. Gran Turismo is getting a special DLC, which will include that's free. That's going to include favorite tracks, cars, and race events from GT1.
I remember seeing something about that. My first Gran Turismo or
Yep.
whatever it's called. Yeah,
Uh,
that's a nice touch.
they're putting a bunch of digital soundtracks on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. The weird, I I found the game choices for this kind of weird though, because
Oh,
okay, so they did God of War 1 and 2. That makes sense. They did
good.
Twisted Metal 1. Okay, that makes sense.
Good.
But then they did Starhawk Unit
What?
Okay.
13. Unit
All right.
13 was a Vita game by the people who made SOCOM. And God of War Ghost of Sparta, so PSP God of War.
No, I mean, I'm down for the strange pulse. If you're doing it, I'd say do it with the strange things.
So, and then they made a they called it a specially curated PlayStation 30th anniversary playlist on Spotify featuring some of the most streamed music by PlayStation gamers around the world. And it is just a list of just like random top 50 music from the past like 10 years. Like it's just anything that's been popular in the past 10 years, and actually a little longer, is on here. Just so you know, the most played song is apparently, I think it's Fine featuring Playboy Cardi. Yep. And then, yeah, so it's just,
Hmm.
just, then they're doing a Shapes of Play, which is a bunch of, like, products for your house, some free online weekend stuff, and then PlayStation avatars, and then apparently they're gonna have some other activities and releases to be on the lookout for. And yeah, this I don't know. Unless the stuff they're doing later is more impactful, this feels really disappointing. This feels like just really disappointing to me.
It's not a lot going on for the 30th anniversary. I guess they're a little busy. I guess.
I don't know, like especially when you look at like what they did for their 20th anniversary, it's this kind of feels like shit. Like that, like for their
Yeah.
20th anniversary, they put out a special PS4 that looks like a PS1, and they only
Oh
made like
yeah.
20,000 of them, and they did a special controller with it. I think Ray has one of those controllers actually.
No, is he really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He used to. I don't know if he still has it, but and they just did a bunch of stuff, being like, hey man, 20 years of PlayStation. Here's all this cool shit, and here's all these cool themes, and here's this special headset, and like I was hoping for like even PS1 side plates for the PS5. So
Mm.
I don't know. This just feels like kind of a bummer. But part of this is like if you look at the image they put out for it, there's a bunch of like PlayStation accessories and systems in the background, and if you look closely, you can see a PS5 Pro.
Oh, really? They've started going there.
Yeah, like that there
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, like someone found it in a news story where like if you like the opacity, like you can barely see it, but it looks exactly like that leaked PS5 Pro.
That's great. That's funny.
Yeah, so Jeff Grubb reported that apparently they're going to be doing a stream for PS5 Pro later this month. Um, Devs are really excited about the extra horsepower and the AI upscaling they're doing. Like
Certainly nice.
Sony has their own version of DLSS now apparently. They call it
Oh shit.
PlayStation something super sampling. So there's that. And then
That's really nice.
the part that I found most interesting though is there's going to be an all digital console that's going to be $600, and then a disc drive console that's going to be, the leaks have stated, somewhere around 650, at worst 700.
Damn.
Fuck.
Yeah,
So
I'm maybe gonna hold off on getting one of those.
so I am in the market for a second PlayStation for the office for streaming purposes,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and I was waiting on the Pro. I will probably get one of these, but I want to see the details on it before I commit.
It might. So I don't even have a PS5. It might honestly push me to get a PS5 when people start selling their PS5s because they bought Pros.
Unfortunately, I am not doing that because we still need one for the living room.
Uh, yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
I've migrated almost completely to PC though. I got PS4 and I got a major PC setup like I think a year or two after PS5 really
mhm.
came around, and I just haven't needed anything else.
I play a ton of games on PS5 for two reasons. The first one being a lot of times PC ports will be shit, and it takes a while for them to get fixed, but I don't want to wait. Dragon's Dogma being a perfect example.
Right.
Uh, or it's I work from home at this desk where I do all the game, and it's also my gaming PC.
Mm-hmm.
And after 8 hours of sitting at this desk staring at these same two monitors, it's not a place where I want to do my entertainment unless it's a game that I have to play here. Like WoW.
Right.
So like be like yesterday being able to get up and play Astrobot in the living room was wonderful.
Yeah.
And you know, and the living room has the big 65-inch TV and the couch and you know all that good shit.
It's a relaxable space.
Yes, and then the third reason is this kind of goes back to the first one where like sometimes PC versions require a little extra bit of tinkering to get right. And when I was younger and had a lot more time and energy, that was fine. But now I'm in my mid 30s. I really just can't be asked.
Yeah.
I
I'm
just
luckily younger and full of time and energy,
yeah,
so
like
that's why I'm on my PC.
like I literally just like when I forgot what like I've had a couple of games where like I I'll run into issues on PC and I know I could go fix it, but I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go play something else now.
And for example, the
Uh,
game I've been playing this week, I had to do a bunch of like fiddling around in its files and like deleting stuff to like fix like bugs. Like it's just I feel like it's part of the PC experience at a certain point
yeah, and
that
I
you're
don't want
like,
to do it.
yeah, you're fixing stuff,
It's it's
and
a
it's
it's a
totally reasonable
it's
to
a big
avoid.
part of why I bought a Steam Deck instead of a ROG Ally. Is like
Yeah,
I just want to download the game and play the game. Thank you.
I don't want to plug
Uh,
this into a mouse and keyboard and look at files.
yep, I'm good. Thank you. It's a big part of why like Guild Wars 2 had an expansion recently, and I kind of wanted to mess around in it a bit in it at some time this week. And I loaded the game up, and I forgot that because of the expansion, it broke the DPS meter mod, which causes the game to crash. And I'm like, I'm not in the mood to go into the files and delete some shit and then re-download the new version of this, so I'm just not gonna play it.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thanks. I'm
hmm
good. And it's not like hard work. It's just like it's more effort that I just want to play the fucking video game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Having a press the start button and then be able to play
mm,
experience is in and of itself somewhat valuable. And I do have my Xbox for that.
yes.
Uh,
Well, this is a big part of why I don't think consoles will ever go away.
yeah.
Um,
There's always going to be a demand for it.
yeah, like like it's just As for this PS5 Pro stuff, I don't know. I feel like PS5 and this console generation as a whole hasn't fully gotten going yet the way it did with PS4. Like by the time that PS4 Pro came out, it really felt like they kind of tapped the limits of regular PS4. Versus
Yeah.
this, due to COVID, it doesn't feel like that. And then also due to COVID, inflation happens, so they can't cut price on regular PS4. So PS5, regular PS5, so PS5 Pro has to be this expensive.
Right.
Um,
I What I'm really waiting for is for the entire body of consoles to move on because I think the Xbox Series S in particular is such a problem for development overall for people that want to be on all platforms. The
mhm.
fact that Xbox is still forcing you to also be on the Series S with like how weak that console is, uh, we're gonna be in this awkward position for a little bit where the PS5 Pro is out, and it's like a million times faster than any other console on the market. But you're simultaneously going, I have to run on the Xbox Series S and the PS5 Pro. So once
Uh,
Xbox also hops over to their new tier of console, and we can finally abandon this giant range of things games need to run on. I think that's when I'll be particularly excited about
see,
the switch over.
see, I don't even think that's an issue at this point because PC exists, and you can't like go like let's say the Series S doesn't exist tomorrow, right? You
hmm
can't go super ham anyway because the average video card that people have is a 3060.
Right, but
Uh,
you can create graphical modes where you're like, here's our high-end way to run it.
yeah,
Whereas a lot
but
of people on those consoles are still expecting the higher end graphical experience. And so they're still optimizing things in such a way that it's like, all right, we need a passable experience on super, super weak hardware. Whereas I feel as though the PC market has more of an acceptance of people going, my computer's weak, I get a worse experience. Whereas the console market does not
I,
accept
I
that.
I actually think they do because people were buying Resident Evil 4 on regular PS4s last year, and that was like 29 FPS and looked fuzzy as
That is
fuck.
kind of crazy. That is kind of nuts that people were doing that.
Like I think that like especially like the consumer who buys. Hold on, let me grab the motherfucker. The consumer that buys one of these, this little guy right
Yeah,
here, is probably not even aware of that bullshit and just wants to play the game. Yeah,
that's true.
like
They're not really thinking about it.
like
Yeah, I can be persuaded to the position that it's not necessarily super impactful.
you know,
I just think that it there is a dev pressure that exists to run on weak software. I mean, weak hardware that would be lifted by a console switch, by Xbox, because I feel like you don't have to hit those demands as low as you're going for the Series S with the PC market, even for people with weak PCs.
see I disagree because I think that in a lot of like I think the only developers really complaining about Series S at this point are like EA and Ubisoft who just want to like those teams that just want to kind of crank shit out as fast as possible
Right.
with as little effort as possible. I think that like in the case of, like Larry and they're like, yeah, it takes some extra work to get split screen running, but we did it. We figured it
Yeah.
out.
They did figure it out. Everyone's gonna figure it out. I just prefer if Larian didn't have to figure it out, and that I get my game and it do the thing I wanted to do.
Right, you still got your game though. Like it's just that particular
Did.
update if you had a Series S because it was only Series S, like they finally lifted the requirement on Series S that it has to be 100% parity. So like if something needs to wait, like split screen
And
for
that does in
example.
and of itself kind of do it. It's the parody that was the problem.
Yeah, well when it launched they said, "Hey, it just needs parity in features, not in terms of graphics." Like the
Hmm.
graphics need to be good enough, resolution needs to be good enough, and I think that's fine. Like I think that, and I think the Series S is actually one of my favorite consoles this generation because it's the only console that I feel like someone who wants to get into video games besides a Switch, like the HDified consoles, like can really easily hop into at a price that
It is
doesn't seem fucking
very cheap,
crazy.
yeah.
Like I bought this thing for $250 fucking dollars.
So much
It
I
is
paid
quite
for
affordable.
mine.
What am?
That's how much I paid for my
Yeah,
series.
like the reason I have a Series X in the living room, that's in here for when we get the office finished. God, we're so close to being done with this fucking house.
Yeah.
So but when we get the office done, that's gonna be set up and everything. And like, $250 and then, $18 a month for Game Pass and you're off to the races if you're a younger or newer or just broke consumer. Like I think back to like when I
Game
was
Pass really is a great deal like that. I was in Japan 2 years ago, and a bunch of guys from Turkey
mhm.
were asking for recommendations on what they should buy when we were in a big electronics store. And I recommended Xbox solely on the basis of the fact that having Game Pass exist is huge for
well,
the affordability of the number of games you can access.
well that's why I had M, like I told M about it and I said, "M, you should absolutely get a Series S cuz it's affordable and Game Pass so you can play a bunch of games with us." So
Hmm.
so you don't need to be dropping money on games all the time if you want to play games with the podcast crew.
Hmm.
And like it's worked out great. We all got to play Exoprimal, and we're all gonna get to play Call of Duty in a month and a half, and and then like me, I don't have to spend $30 on another Crab's Treasure. I don't need to go spend, like all this money on all these like chance games. And I think back,
Right.
and I think back to when I was like, you know, teenager kid where I didn't have a lot of money. Like I got my money by like mowing lawns in the summer for neighbors and whatnot. And I if I got good grades, I'd get some money. And like so but I think back to back then, like selling my parents on a $250 console for Christmas and then a $20 a month sub is way easier than a $500 box and $70 games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right, you've sold me. You've sold me on the position. Series S does good.
Yeah, like I don't think it's perfect. I think that the base unit needs to come with a terabyte instead of 512 gigs. Like
That'd be
that's my
nice.
biggest sticking point where like the base
I
model
think a
storage
Call of
sucks.
Duty game is about to come out that doesn't fit on that.
No, it does. So they confirm that that was like that stuff that 380 gigs or whatever it was. That's like if you download Black Ops 6, Modern Warfare 3,
Mm,
and then whatever game was before that, all on the launcher.
I
Um, I th-
see.
I think they said I will say Black Ops 6 if you install everything eats up about half of the memory.
That's wild. That's
I
crazy.
yeah, it's nuts. But that game is huge. You think about the full campaign, the multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. Of course, that's a 178 gig game. Fucking
That is a lot
gigantic.
of video game.
You know, I'm super excited for Black Ops 6. We should play zombies together. Is all I'm saying. Um,
You know, I actually have a strange relationship with zombies. It's I'm terrible at it.
so am I.
And
You're good.
but while being terrible at a game is usually normal, I have a reputation for being pretty good at almost every game I play. Right? This is a thing about me.
Mhm.
My base level is usually pretty good, and I have like a weakness for zombies. I don't know what it is. I'm significantly worse at zombies than I am at most video games.
Fair. Um,
Uh,
yeah.
I just can't get the range of these zombies. They get me. I can't. My brain, it doesn't process it
I,
right.
hey man, you can come be garbage together. We'll all be garbage. It'll be a
Right.
garbage.
Yeah.
It'll be a garbage old time.
That's the fun thing to do with it. That's the fun thing to do with it.
I don't know. PS5 Pro seems interesting. Like I want to pick it up. I want to pick it up mainly for Grand Theft Auto because I know that's gonna be the best way to play Grand Theft Auto at launch. Um,
Probably. Yeah.
and I also know that as far as like as far as like Sony's future games like Spider-Man 3, Wolverine, etc., that'll be the best way to play it, and
Obviously. Yeah.
and then like buying a second PlayStation anyway for the office, it's like, well, I mean, you might as fucking well, right?
Yeah.
You know, like if I was not already in the market for a second PlayStation, I probably wouldn't be looking at one.
Right.
Um,
But now is certainly the time for you. Everything's aligned.
yeah, like it kind of all came together. So, well, after all that fucking bullshit, we actually do have a good Sony story so far, though.
Oh.
Astrobot is the highest rated game of the year.
Damn.
So, yep.
That's good. I honestly hadn't heard about Astrobot until I heard you talking about it.
Mm,
And I am tempted to check it out, based solely on the things I've heard about it.
so yeah, no, it is like I said, is the best, is the highest rated game on Metacritic so far this year. Not including DLCs, because then Shadow of the Erd Tree is 1 point higher. But it is the highest rated full game this year. I will say that I feel like, did you ever play Mario Galaxy?
I did not.
Damn it! I was about to say, okay, that it kind of gives Mario Galaxy vibes the entire
Oh,
time
I
I've been
cool.
see.
playing it.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you like, there's very much like level specific powers
Oh.
that you pick up. There's a ton of little weird collectibles. I will say to get the most out of the game, you probably have to have some level of nostalgia for PlayStation. Cause
Yeah,
that,
Oh, so this is
that
basically
does
my
seem
game.
like a
Cool.
prerequisite from what I've seen.
yeah, like there's all these like you find PlayStation hardware collectibles, you rescue PlayStation and some third-party characters, and when you rescue them, there's this little blurb that's like tells you about them, not like directly, but like stuff only the fans would know. And then like there's like So what you do is when you collect these little characters by rescuing them, and then you get coins going through the levels, and you spend the coins at a gotcha machine that gives you like those characters' accessories, and you'll get special
Ah,
interactions with them at the hub world.
I
So
see.
like when I interact with Snake, so like the item I got for Solid Snake, for example, was a cardboard box, and when I go up to him, I can knock off the cardboard box, and it's him reading a nudie mag under it. You know.
That's funny. That's a funny little thing.
Yeah. And there's all these callbacks to the other games, like Kiryu, for example. Once you have his gotcha item, you can go ahead and once you have Kiryu's gotcha item, you can go ahead and like go over and attack him, and he'll do the spot dodge he does in that game, and drop one of the items he uses to like beat people up with in those games.
That's
Uh,
fun.
yeah, there's all kinds of fun references like that to PlayStation and PlayStation adjacent franchises. Um, yeah, it's really cool. Uh, if you like, I can't recommend it enough if you like 3D platformers. Also, like if you like 3D platformers, this is like an A plus experience. Yeah.
You know, I have been kind of craving a 3D platformer. I don't usually play them a lot, is the thing.
Mhm.
It's just specifically a buddy of mine's been like going on about Mario 64 again a lot. Uh, and I was thinking I don't want to play Mario 64, but I could use a 3D platform.
Um, I really like. Um, I'm a big fan of 3D platformers. Mario 64 is actually not anywhere near close to my favorite Mario 3D game, though.
Hmm.
I actually am a big fan of the Galaxy games and 3D World and Odyssey. Like Mario 64 is probably my second least favorite. Like Sunshine's my least favorite. Uh,
I've been thinking I wanna take a revisit on Mario Galaxy 2, as in a not a revisit, a first visit. And that I may just go skip Galaxy because I've heard that Galaxy 2 is effectively more Galaxy with extra bits on it.
yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Yeah.
Galaxy's still
Uh,
a great game, but 2 does kind of add a bunch of shit that makes it really cool, though.
that was my plan. I stopped by a retro game store just yesterday to see if I could grab one. It was not there.
Um, well, there's emulators.
Yep, that was my backup plan.
But yeah, Astrobot's the highest rated game of the year, followed by Final Fantasy VII Remake, Animal Well, Balatro, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Thank goodness I've never heard of this game. And Tekken 8. So there you go.
You know, I have been in on that Balatro. That's in my recently played. Gotta love me that Balatro.
I played a bunch of Tekken 8 on Friday during Fight Night. Um,
See, there you
every
go.
everybody in our group is impressed at my parries.
Nice.
I remember our strongest player was like, God, if you could actually get an offensive game plan together, you'd be a monster.
If
Uh,
only you could hit the enemy. You're great
like
at parrying them.
it's like, well, like I can hit the enemy, but I'm terrible at combos in that game and like finding good openers. Like if I could get even halfway decent at offense in goddamn Tekken, uh, my Leroy would be a fucking menace. So, but
Yeah.
instead, I'm just really annoying to fight against because if you try and go heavy on offense, I just parry everything you do. Because he has
Yeah.
he actually has 3 different parries technically and a counter hit. Oh fuck, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Square. I missed all these comments. Holy shit. Um, okay, so Jack and Daxter is also an amazing 3D platform game, which also got love on Astrobot. It did. I do highly recommend it. And I don't know. I recently played it on a PS2 emulator, and it actually does hold up pretty well. The first Jack and Daxter. Until Silent Hill 2 remake is released, I think that's facetious. I don't know. I think that game will review well. I actually do like they actually are doing some stuff that does look like they're not total half-assing it.
Yeah.
But and then seriously now, I think Zelda Echoes will be the highest reviewing game of the year.
I would hope so. If Zelda Echoes comes out and it's like really a great Zelda game, that'd be awesome. I just I'm not confident that Zelda games have been as well specifically the top-down 2D Zelda game style
Mm,
has been well enough received by critics uh to really like top the chart of the best game received of the year. But damn do I hope it does.
what did that? What did that? So I need to look up the last. The last two 2D Zeldas were that Link's Awakening remake, which got an 87 on Metacritic, and then Link Between Worlds, which I loved Link Between Worlds. Holy fuck, that game was good. Which got a 91. It was very popular.
Yeah.
Also,
Um,
god damn, that game's 11 years old? Holy fuck. Alright, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's crazy. Um, yeah, I listen. I would love it. I would love it if it makes it there, and I certainly think that it has the potential. It's looking really good.
Hmm.
Um, I just feel like Zelda games are always taken a little less seriously, just a slight bit less seriously by the industry as a whole.
I agree.
Uh,
I think from like just people as a whole, like I know that like I'm excited for this, but most people I know who are Zelda fans are kind of lukewarm on it.
I think Zelda is always sitting in like, oh, that was one of the top 10 games of the year
Hmm.
when they release, and then it's never no one ever goes it, but that was nobody ever seriously considers it for the top spot. I feel like.
I'd agree with that. I think they are like Link Between Worlds also got Game of the Year noms back then. It did. I actually worked at a publication where it was in our discussion in a big way. I don't think it made our top 10 because it came out in a really packed year with Grand Theft Auto 5 and Last of Us, but it was briefly in the discussion, and then we were like, let's see. Although Breath of the Wild is still named as what? Yeah, Breath of the Wild is like a masterpiece, dude. That game like
Yeah.
defined like an entire generation of video games. Okay, so I'm looking at the rest of the year here. Marvel vs. Capcom Collection, Game of the Year. Gonna review 98 overall. No, I wish it'll review 98 overall on Super Gamecraft, which that's what
Yeah.
matters. You know, it'll review that well in my heart. But yeah, I'm kind of looking through here. I don't know. I think Silent Hill 2 will do fairly well. Um, I do think COD is gonna review fairly well. Not a 90. So it needs to be a 95 or higher to beat Astrobot. And I'm looking through the rest of the year, and I just don't see it. Like I just hit November, and I'm like, maybe Mario and Luigi. You know, if they pull out a real good one. Yeah, no, I really do think
Indiana
Astrobot's
Jones
gonna be end
Spirit.
up being the highest rated game of the year. Like I'm looking at the list, and it's just nothing that has a confirmed release date, which will probably be what's out this year because it's September. Really looks like it's gonna beat a 94 overall. So
I agree with the comment too that Zelda Tears was also incredible. I don't think it was nearly as good as Breath of the Wild was. It wasn't anywhere near as defining. And Breath of the Wild is definitely the most recent Zelda game that people were like, yeah, that could be the best game that was made this year.
I,
Um, but yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 came out when Tears came out, so like they're screwed. They couldn't possibly be best of the year.
so let me respond to these. I think Tears was incredible as well. I don't think it's as impactful, but I do think it's actually a better video game. I just don't think the impact is as huge because it's like kind of the same style. very similar to where like my favorite Zelda for the longest time was Wind Waker, but everyone references Ocarina of Time because it's kind of what set the format. Yeah, Indiana Jones is this year. I don't think that's going to review above a 94 though. Is the thing. I think if it's as good as Wolfenstein was, I think it'll be in the high 80s. So,
Yeah.
also I love because of Nvidia broadcast, my video kind of spazzes out sometimes, and I feel like I'm in Cyberpunk.
Right.
So, let's see. It got a cool Edge cover this week. Oh, right. I forget. You are in Europe. Um, let me take a look at this cover. Um, yeah, that is pretty sick. If you like those Indiana Jones movies, which I do, that does look cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Interesting.
all right. Our last topic is wildly stupid and making fun of people who probably should know better. Okay.
Hmm.
Give me a minute. I gotta prepare for this stupidity. Give me a sec.
A big one.
Yep. Yeah. When I was doing research and I found that this was getting some traction, I just immediately rolled my eyes, and then I researched into it. And just sighed. No, it's not the Astrobot Days Gone director drama. That's equally as stupid.
I was
I'll,
gonna say, I was reading that article when we were talking about Astrobot and all that. And I was like, oh my
no,
god, this
we didn't
asshole.
we
Fuck.
didn't discuss it. I didn't find that one as pressing to bring up because I think there's a broader, more interesting discussion with this next topic. But basically, the short version is the director and writer of Days Gone had some comments to say about Astrobot using the character from Days Gone in a Twitter ad for the game, being real salty about it. Like, this is what, because they didn't greenlight Days Gone 2, and he left the company, and he's been kind of salty at Sony ever since on Twitter, and is just like, wow, this is what my fucking, what was the exact quote? Hold on. I was looking at this stupidity last night, and I was just like, man, this thread is dumb as hell. I need to stop. Hold
Yeah.
on. I'm so sorry to
I see
stop.
my character reduced to a cartoon shill promoting some small game, and I'm being harsh. Sit down, my brother. Adults are talking. That was from the creative director of Days Gone on Twitter in response to a fan.
I mean, if Days Gone was so good, why is Astrobot getting its like fourth game and Days Gone can't get a second?
Sorry, dude. Um,
Can't really argue with that. Like, your game's not doing as good, man.
Uh,
sure as shit
let's
doesn't act
see.
like an adult
He
during that
says,
tweet. Damn.
let's see. I don't know Astrobot and wish them well, but not at the expense of Days Gone. And he even talks to some people saying some stuff like, when people reframe it like I did, where I was just like, I mean, this is a game celebrating 30 years of PlayStation heritage. Your game is considered good enough to be part of that, so, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Uh,
it's a celebration.
it is, And who knows, maybe if enough people, you know, like see that character, like, oh, that seems interesting. I think that game had the problem of being a zombie game coming out around the same time as The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
That was the yeah,
Yeah, you can't do much about that.
Rogue Galaxy characters are being celebrated. Yeah, like there's some deep cuts. Like when I ran into Unjammer Lammy, I was like, what the fuck?
That's a
Okay.
deep cut.
Yeah.
The on Jeremy Lambie. There was something else in this article that I saw.
Mhm.
Um, obviously he's been upset about the cancellation of a Days Gone sequel for years now. At one point blaming quote unquote woke reviewers
Oh
Reviewer.
god.
for its
Woke
not amazing
reviewers.
for its not amazing reception. The reasons he listed in a now deleted tweet were, and I quote, it had tech issues like bugs, streaming, and frame rate.
Okay, that
It
seems like a
had
legitimate issue.
reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game.
Oh yeah, they definitely don't play games, reviewers, obviously.
And three,
I was a
it
game
had
journalist for almost a decade. No, they do play games. Go on.
and three, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass.
It's the white guy. It's that they
It's
have
the
That's
white.
woke.
This is my response to him. Fuck you. Continue.
Okay, so let me. So that does relate though to the topic we have here. So, there has been a mob of anti-woke people getting louder and louder on certain parts of the internet, including.
Can I rage?
No, 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 no. So I actually want to have a civil discussion here for a lot of different reasons about this.
Joking.
You know, like, but you've had a lot of people talking about anti-woke stuff and making anti-woke Steam groups, and there have been a couple have gotten traction. One of those being DEI Detector, which is this dumb as hell website, which it tries to find games where DEI consultants have worked on a game and tells you what it is, and it's like DEI detected. So like old school RuneScape was recently reviewed by them, and it's
OSRS DEI.
yep.
Old school RuneScape has a notoriously a pretty big issue in that they pay like dirt to their developers, and that they force you to live in a really expensive part of England if you want to work there. So
Well,
like, there's just it's only the only people who work for old school RuneScape are people who are obsessed with old school RuneScape.
well, okay, well this is what they say is going straight to the point. After 23 years since the original release, Jagex decided to release a quote DEI update for old school RuneScape where they removed male and female sexes from character creator screen, replacing them with the infamous body type A and body type B. And not only that, they also added pronouns because of course they had to go with the full combo, right? Now they can be a they them in a 23-year-old video game. And then
So that was a very simple update. It just untied the pronouns that NPCs would use for your character from the body shape.
but
That's
you
it.
have
That's literally all it did.
but that's the woke. You
That
can't
is
be
the
a
woke.
he and look like a man and look like a woman. That is the
RuneScape
woke.
in particular has like a massive historical problem with this because there's a lot of like really shitty people in the RuneScape community. Uh, there's
feel-
in fact a history, a tradition even of the riots in RuneScape that people do in Falador, in which basically any time that they do anything that is inclusive in any way, a giant group of people put on all white clothing and go to Falador and say racial slurs.
So, one, I feel like that is something that is very much locked into old MMOs. I remember Ray was telling me how a bunch of, like, neo-Nazis are currently infecting Classic and SOD.
In fact, Chris had a great story with me once where he was telling me that he was so he was selling a service in I think it was Season of Discovery, in which he was selling teleports to a valuable location for people. And he was going into a chat and he specifically added only real conservative Americans use my services, and was getting significantly more gold on account of just adding that.
You all make me so happy I play retail right now. You've just made me so happy I play retail. Thank you. Thank you for making me happy I'm on retail. So,
Yeah.
But one of the ones that started to get traction is a Steam group called Woke Content Detector and Woke Game Detector. So I'm gonna
They
pull
found the
those up.
woke.
So I'm gonna pull those up. One of them has almost 1,700 members. Another one has 700 members. And then they have like literally over 1,000 reviews each of games. And the way they categorize them is recommended, so games that don't have any of the woke. Games that, like it's debatable if it's woke, or subtle in quotes if it's woke, and then not recommended because they're woke. And I just wanted to go through some of the games that are
What a
woke.
funny group.
That are woke that they don't want you to play. Okay.
Okay. Games infected by the wokeoids.
All right. So, Baldur's Gate 3. They do
Right.
not
Okay.
want you. They
Infected
do.
by the wokeoids. Yeah.
They do not want you to play Baldur's Gate 3 because it contains overly pro LGBTQ messaging, non-binary, and other options in the identity character creation menu. Uses body type instead of male female, including homosexual romances.
Yeah. It has the gay.
I mean, it's D&D. Of course that shit's gonna fucking happen.
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight. What?
Shovel Knight's
What is
woke, guys.
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight's woke.
It's all people in armor.
Contains overtly pro LGBTQ plus messaging. Includes a body swap mode that allows you to independently change whether each character is male or female for his or her body or text.
Huh.
And that's for both Shovel Knight games.
That's for all like 4 of them. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Let's see.
Interesting.
Let's
Tekken
see.
8 is on here?
Tekken 8, yep. Contains
Street Fighter
overtly
6?
Wo Long, Elden Ring. Elden Ring's be woke, boys.
It's the Woka. It's
Uh,
got the Woka.
Cracked. I'm cracked. All right.
Yeah, no. Hold on, let me see if I can find. I found a really good review. Okay, yeah, this one's fun for Street Fighter 6 in because I found another Steam group that's doing the same shit. Westernized art style and character designs and use terms by type A and B in character creation. Street Fighter 6 uses a graffiti art style. That has been in Street Fighter since at least Alpha, if not Street Fighter 3. These people are fucking. Oh my god. Oh my god. They see anything. Okay. I
The
think
only video game we are allowed to play is Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that's it.
Fuck that.
Hold on. They do have some games on the non-woke list, but you notice that almost all the games on the non-woke list are like old as dirt. With
Team Fortress
We can only
2.
play Diablo 1.
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World. That game's 6 years old.
Command and Conquer.
BioShock 2. That game is 14. Let's see. Or it's games that just you couldn't have it in it if you wanted to, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Like it's all games that are
no,
Dragon Ball.
I feel
Yeah.
like Yu-Gi-Oh's just a little
Dragon
gay by itself, so I don't know how that's not on the
Yeah,
list.
there's a lot of people wearing leather pants. You are right about that.
Yeah.
You are right about that. A lot of people wearing the
Classic.
leather pants.
Yugi, do I look gay when I sit like this?
Yep. But man, Freddy Fish ain't woke. You can play Freddy Fish.
Okay, thank God they spared Freddy Fish from the DEI.
But first off, so to put this in perspective, there are 386 games in their recommended non-woke versus, hold on, I have to get to the bottom of the spreadsheet, over 747 in their woke, and then they have informational, which is like, it's a little woke, but, you might be able to overlook it, which has like 300. Yeah.
I guess it's a woke apocalypse, given how woke the games are.
So, and then there's No More Heroes 3, which this one might be my favorite. It's in the middle ground list. Contains subtly pro LGBTQ imagery. There is nothing subtle about how gay those games are, but okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there is rainbow graffiti present on one of the buildings.
Oh no. Oh god.
Okay, I want to break. So here's the thing. This like anti-woke mob, I feel falls into two people. Um, and I'm gonna. There's a group of them I'm gonna be nice to, and a group I'm gonna be very fucking mean to because they're fucking scum.
The scum of the
Um,
earth. Let's go.
okay, the group of people I'm gonna be nice to. These are people who got duped, who saw the decline in quality in certain things, or they might have just aged out of video games, or they don't understand like the world has changed and like certain things have changed with it. There are several reasons why they got duped, and that's why they're buying into this shit. And I feel sorry for them that they bought into this grifter ass false promise from a bunch of online idiots trying to get you to not play Baldur's Gate 3 because it has the gay, and the non-binary, and they don't want you to play Elden Ring because of things of that nature, or they don't understand that Street Fighter has always had Western art elements because it started using graffiti elements 25 years ago in its art.
Yeah.
Um, and those people I feel sorry for. And I hope if they're listening to this, you are following people who are awful and are just grifting to try and get you to be on their side for a message. The reason why Justice League was bad was not the woke. It was just a bad video game with bad pacing and bad writing. Okay? Like Spider-Man 2, like Alan Wake 2 was considered woke because of a black female protagonist being one of the characters you play as. That game is incredible. Game's incredible, but there are some people who do not want you to play it because black female protagonists for is half of the people you play.
Well, and I think a group like this, they kind of exist just because they're so incredibly sensitive to being reminded about their political positions that just the sight of a black female protagonist is like they gets them riled up. Uh, and it's just such an exhausting position to hold. Like, literally, just don't think about it.
The, right, and the thing is just like they're reminded of their political position partly, but I also think that's partially just like the world, the gaming space got a lot more diverse. A lot more women came
Right.
into the space. A lot more trans people came into space. A lot of minority people came into the space. It wasn't, it's not all fucking straight white dudes anymore, or mostly straight
Yeah.
white dudes anymore. And that they want to be represented in games, which they still are. There's plenty of straight white protagonists. Nathan Drake ain't going anywhere.
God of War
Mario
is
isn't going
still
anywhere.
very popular.
You know, like you're good. Um, but you can still be straight males in character creator games. You know, Baldur's Gate 3, you can be a straight white guy. You can go try and like have bone down Karlach or Shadowheart to your heart's content. Nothing
Yeah.
stopping you. You know, but I think that they think that because this is coming in, it's gonna take away my thing. Because like if you look at like certain games on here that were reviewed poorly and bad, it wasn't the woke that's why they were bad. There's other factors related to it, and like and just because a game has these elements does not inherently mean it is bad. It is there are other things that led to these games not living up to their promise or not living up to a million other things. You know, I will say that looking through this, like Coral Island, that's a game that's like a Stardew Valley clone. My girlfriend's been super into recently. It says here contains overtly pro LGBTQ messaging during character creation, includes the options to go by the honorific MX or add a custom one. There's a neutral body option when picking male or female. And it's just like, okay, but that's a great game and it's been reviewing well. You know, like why does any of that matter if the game is fun and like, yeah, it's dumb.
Listen, games can't be fun unless they conform perfectly to my political beliefs, which are pretending no one exists, I guess, right?
Besides straight white people, yeah.
Yeah, it's just me.
But I once again, I feel sorry for the people who fell into that group, and if you have fallen into that group, please reconsider your position. Like, please do. Like, look at this critically. Like, is the reason that Kill the Justice League is a bad game is because of the woke, or is it because it's a repetitive as shit live service game with little variety that looks like garbage? And I'm telling you right now, as someone who used to be a paid writer, no writing consultant is getting paid as much as enough to where they're the bulk of the budget of a game like that. It's mismanagement at a publisher level saying, hey, single player studio, you need to make a live service game. And also, you need to make a live service game like all the other live service games because we want to make all the money in the world. It has nothing to do with the woke or Sweet Baby Inc. or any of that garbage. It has everything to do with publishers being greedy and want to making a studio who's never made a certain type of game make a certain type of game that they have never made before, were inexperienced in making, and instead of just making another single player fun experience. It follow the money, not the politics in this instance. Sorry, Duncan, you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just this is really an extension, obviously, of people having external political beliefs and putting them onto games. And further, it's the position that a lot of these people are holding is that, for example, with Justice League, the reason the game was bad was because all of those poor decisions were made on account of the fact that people that were hired for the company were hired solely for meeting inclusion quotas, and that they were less competent than who would have otherwise been hired had that not been a factor. And therefore, these poor decisions are a consequence of a larger practice. And I mean, there's a lot of research that goes into these subjects that shows that that's generally not the case. And in fact, when it comes to even poor candidates and good candidates in a given job role position, there's not a lot of difference in performance, let alone between racial groups of candidates. It can't possibly explain the poor decision making here. That really has to happen at a much higher level than any sort of diversity initiative could possibly explain. On top of the fact that when you reach those higher levels that do make these decisions, such diversity decisions aren't relevant. They no longer come into effect, and the statistics show that people in those positions are, generally speaking, not as diverse.
Most of the people running these studios are straight white guys.
Like, and that's just on account of the fact that the people who run these studios are rich people with backgrounds in corporate business, and rich people with backgrounds in corporate business tend to be straight white dudes, on account of a fact of historical influencing factors resulting in straight white dudes having minor degrees of advantage that, spanning over the course of a career, make them more likely to end up in such a position, which extremifies via a self-filtering effect. Similar to the January hockey player effect, in which almost all hockey players on a given team are born in January because they were slightly advantaged from being slightly older than their peers, and that over the course of a career will self-filter to result in only January birthday hockey players being on a team. And uh, that uh, the things that explain the behaviors that they believe are making games bad don't actually do that. And the games industry in reality has a series of completely separate problems, and this is a continued expression of the interest of groups of people that want to turn games into a political issue on account of the fact that it was really effective in times past. Movements like Gamergate were very galvanizing for people to get into the conservative movement, and that is what people want to do again. They want to explain the issues with the games industry as political, as to engage people politically. And the reality of the matter is that RuneScape making an option select for what gender the NPCs use when they're talking to you really doesn't matter. Uh, there's a lot of reasons for someone to want to change that aside from even being trans. And further, it doesn't bother anybody if someone privately is a trans person. Like they're not affecting you in any way. There's nothing but benefit from system changes such as this in character creators, and the vehement opposition to such is both clearly artificial. As you mentioned, these groups are actually relatively small,
Mm.
uh, and
There are some exceptions. I think that the Sweet Baby Ink detected one is pretty big, if I recall. But go ahead.
right. And further, the issue with groups like Sweet Baby Inc., for example,
Yeah, that
is
one
less.
has 430,000 followers. That's pretty big.
It's less that the existence of that company in general is an issue, but it's the corporate flaccid engagement with diversity, in that these companies don't actually want to create a diverse environment. They want to avoid negative press associated with people being upset with clearly uh, biased hiring practices that can be noticed if you take a larger look at things on scale, because competency does not actually correlate with race. Like, this is something that I think anyone who's not outright racist can agree with. Competency and race are not related, and competency and gender are not related. And the proportion of people being hired into industry positions would suggest that competency and race are related, and that competency and gender are related, if you are going off of being hired as the metric for success. But we know that that isn't, and therefore there's a misalignment here. And companies like Sweet Baby Inc., their purpose is not to fix that misalignment. The purpose serves to make companies know how to not get heat for that sort of thing, and to have better practices overall for keeping their stuff running. But those companies aren't meaningfully wanting to change their practices in any way.
Well, right, and then like, and part of that is Sweet Baby Ink just wants to get paid and go home. I think a
They're
perfect
consultants, yeah, you know.
well, while still doing a good job. Like, one of the recent ones they did was that game South of Midnight was originally supposed to have a white protagonist, and I'm like, what? Okay, who cares? I mean,
Hmm.
quite frankly, South of Midnight having a black protagonist for a game set in the Bayou in the South makes a lot of goddamn sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely a compelling a compelling perspective to have, and that is really one of the major benefits of increasing diversity in the industry, is having access to more compelling perspectives. It's having a greater a greater capacity to create interesting characters that feel realistic. It's difficult to
Well,
write female characters with a staff that doesn't have women on it, and
well, like,
that is a
and
benefit we get from fixing these issues of hiring practices as they have historically been.
well, and this brings me to the second group that I want to talk about that I referenced earlier. Like, The other half of the people who are genuinely upset about this shit are grifters and straight up fucking racist, sexist, misogynist morons that are complete fucking scum. Just looking at this list of not recommended games tells me that they don't want any minorities in these games. They don't want anyone who is not straight in these games. They don't want anyone who is trans in these games. They don't want any of that at all because they're fucking bigots,
Right.
you know, or they're
Um,
or they're fucking grifters, you
yeah,
know.
and in the case of a grifter, they're opportunists. They
Yeah,
see actual racists that are mad about these things and see, man, I could get those guys. I could get those
yeah,
guys riled up.
yeah. They like you look at Grums and that you just see money from those people. And then,
Yeah.
between Grums and the people who are genuine racists and genuine bigots and genuinely upset about South of Midnight changing from a white protagonist to a black protagonist, they get a bunch of people who are upset at games being, in some cases disappointing, riled up and say, "Oh man, it's because of the woke,"
It's
and
because of the woke.
it's not because of the woke.
It's because
It's
they haven't
not,
got wokeified.
you know. Like perfect example is one of the reviews they give them here is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Contains overtly pro-LGBTQ messaging. The NPC Hanley Abrams is trans. Like, you mean it was when that game came out over a decade ago?
Yeah.
Homosexual romance options includes Mass Effect Andromeda's Asari pronoun retcon. And then they did another review of the same game. Is there's the shot they used to do shots of when women would walk by, specifically Miranda Lawson, of her ass.
They removed the ass shots.
They
It's the end of the world.
and it's just like, and the thing is like, dude, do you really care that much about the gratuitous ass shot that lasts 3 seconds in the middle of Mass Effect? And they didn't even remove it. It just it doesn't linger as weirdly long.
Yes, I care so much.
And it's
Listen,
it's
when her dad dies, I need to be seeing her ass while she's talking about how sad she is about her dead dad.
okay. Well, then I guess you will play the original. Um but yeah, so it's just like it's people who were tricked into this bullshit. And I feel sorry for them for that. Like they got fed a line of bullshit that they fell into, and they say, "Oh, it's the woke. Oh, it's the DEI consultants. They're the reason it's getting worse." It's like, dude, it's literally the reason this shit is worse is it's corporate mandate shit. That's it. It's the same reason why during June you see a bunch of fucking corporations change all their shit to rainbow. It's because it sells.
Yeah.
And in the case
And
of, sorry, go ahead. No, go
well,
ahead.
I was gonna say there's also a further effect that a lot of people run into as they grow older. The video games feel like they've gotten worse as you get older, and the reality is that you're not 14 anymore, and the world's a little harder. And so, Mass Effect Mass Effect's great when you're playing it and you're 12, and then when you're in your mid 20s now, you start to go, oh, I don't like this as much. I don't like games as much in general, and they feel like they need a way to explain that. And a common go-to is, oh, games are worse nowadays because of a diversity I didn't notice when I was younger.
Well, and it's really funny when you look at like old, and then older game, the medium has evolved. And part of that is writing improving and writing adding different perspectives. Baldur's
Mhm.
Gate 3 is written exceptionally well. Like
Great game.
it's an amazing game. From I'm only 30 hours into it, but goddamn it's good. And part of doing more in depth, more adult stories that aren't just surface level adulthood shit, like, tits and violence, is actually having different perspectives and different characters and, having different worldviews and black, white, minority, etc. You know, like you look at Tomb Raider, it's like, do you really want this like female Indiana Jones? Like, is what's really appealing to you this female Indiana Jones knockoff with big boobs? Like,
Well,
who's
and further, you're not lacking in tits and violence. You can go play Stellar Blade. It's there. It's like, from what I hear, pretty great.
You can go play
Like,
Space Marine 2. Fucking violence out the ass.
yeah, like
You
you're
know?
not being denied your tits and violence. It's still all over the place.
You know. And then another perspective here is like, I feel like a lot of people who are in this see their worldview as the default worldview. And that's not true. No worldview is the default worldview. It's not how shit works. And, I hear people complain about, like, Spider-Man 2, how, like, oh, man, or Spider-Man 1, oh, man, there's, pride flags and whatnot. And it's like, there's pride flags in actual New York. But I don't
Right.
want to see that in my Spider-Man game. It's like, okay, maybe someone who is on the more liberal side of things doesn't always want to play a straight white guy.
Hey man, just download the Chinese release. It's not gonna be there anymore.
And like people are like referencing like Wukong as this like bastion of like, oh man, it's Sailor Moon 1. I was like, it's based on Chinese mythology? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then I think there are, it's just like how they don't understand a review as a fucking opinion. Like, a review is an opinion piece. There's no objective truth to a fucking review. Like, this is what... I've said this for... I started writing game reviews in 2009. I started writing game reviews professionally in 2011. Okay? There is no such thing as a fucking objective review, because this is what it would be. It has graphics. There is sound. It is a very technically proficient game for an Xbox 360 game. The characters are named, whatever.
Right. Mistaken though you are, the objective review is if I like.
Sorry, you cut out.
It is good.
Duncan, we got some voice lag. Sorry,
That
repeat.
makes the game good.
Could you
Oh,
repeat?
got some like. I was saying that the only objective review is if I like it, I'm the only one. Me. That's it.
Okay. And your worldview. So, like, yeah, like, yeah, like, it's so fucking frustrating. It's so just, like, and once again, like, it's like, you do see, like, like, they see the conservative messaging. And then there are some people, like Melanie Mack, for example, who, like, does see, like, oh, I don't want to, politics shoved in my face, like, etc. It's just like, dude, it's a pride flag in Spider-Man. It's pretty easy to ignore. You just swing by it super quick. Also, I'm not sure if you've been to New York. There's a lot of gay people there. Like, a lot of them. Just like,
as a natural consequence of a lot of people being there. It's
yeah.
almost like amongst people there are gay people.
Yep. It's like they almost exist. Just using the super, the Super Gamecraft Discord has around 90 people in it. By the way, everyone, you should join that if you're not on there already. I'd say from what I know, about a fourth of it is gay.
Yeah.
About a fourth, solid fourth. Just there you go. It's so frustrating and just. Like I said, I feel bad for the people who got tricked into it. The people who see that, super hyper-conservative as their worldview, that's just is what it is, and you're not going to change their mind. The people who are grifting or active, like, because I don't think necessarily if you're a conservative, you're a racist or transphobe or whatever. You might just want low taxes for your fucking business. Hey, bro, I get it. I understand. But, like, so I don't necessarily think those are one and one. I do think that there is a subset that's the loudest set and the most upset that make these kind of dumbass spreadsheets I'm looking at right now, and these dumbass Steam groups, who are genuine racist, transphobes, fucking bigots, etc., who are, using shit, like you said earlier, Gamergate, to get them on their side and get a bunch of people
Right.
riled up about this shit when they shouldn't. And those are the people you should be mad at. And if you're one of those people who fell in with this shit, like, dude, reconsider shit. I implore you. I'm happy to have a discussion about this as long as it's civil with people who, in the comments. I'm sure because I'm gonna tag this with a bunch of stuff and clip this section, people are gonna be fucking big mad in the comments. So yeah, that's my take. Ugh, God, Godspeed.
Yeah. Video games.
Video games. Hey, we didn't talk about any layoffs this week. That's a win. No
That
layoffs
is
this
a
week.
win.
You know. So yeah. Anyway, we're doing the next section. What we've been playing. So, hey M.
Yeah.
You played the second newest game on this list, and probably the most contentious from everything I've heard. You played that Star Wars Outlaws.
I did. I'm only 3 hours in right now.
Okay, well, what are
Stealth
your
missions are hard. Stealth missions are hard.
So, yeah, I was about to ask, what are your first impressions? Because I've heard kind of mostly negative things. Like the one that surprised me was kind of funny. Greg Miller's pretty lenient on games, and he gave it a 4 out of 10. I was kind of shocked at that. I haven't heard him give a
4 out
score
of
that low
10?
in a while. Yeah, 4 out of 10. He was wildly disappointed by it. It's currently sitting at a pretty good on Metacritic of 76. Um, yeah.
I mean, it's what you'd expect out of Ubisoft. Very much
So,
open world, but in a Star Wars setting.
Right.
Assassin Star Wars. Got it.
Although there's no towers or
Oh,
anything
thank
like that.
fuck. Thank fuck. They finally learned. No more towers.
Like, you download the map as soon as you walk into the area. Like, as soon as you get to where your objective is,
Mm.
you automatically get that map.
Right.
So
That's
there's
good.
that.
It's a nice
There's
change.
your good thing right there. Visually it's fine.
I heard
A little bit.
I heard that it was a downgrade from the trailers. Like I heard
Just
in
a
the
little bit of a downgrade.
yeah, I heard they pulled a Watch Dogs where they showed these beautiful trailers and were like, then the actual game is just kind of normal open world game visuals.
Yeah. Like I
Okay.
said, it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine.
Mm.
The music though. This is the one thing that I'm really big on. The music for this is just
It's real good.
poetry. It's some real good shit. Like the one of the first areas that you go to, or
Mm.
one of the first areas that you start in, is a club.
Mm.
And you could feel the vibrations of the bass from that club in your controller. And I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking
That
wild.
them PS5 haptics real good.
Oh
Used to
yeah.
that.
Real fucking good.
I absolutely love it in Gran Turismo how it simulates actual car braking. And I
Yeah.
also really like it in Spider-Man when when the wrist goes out and the web shot goes out, the controller vibrates in a certain way,
Yeah.
and it'll switch hands depending on which hands he's using. Shit's crazy.
Pretty
What
good.
else? What else? What else? Lockpicking is interesting.
All right.
So
All right.
Is there
Nyx
anything
is
that
fun.
what is?
Nyx, the little
Oh, the
your little companion.
little companion. Okay.
He's a fun little buddy, and I love him to pieces. Must protect. Um, yeah, that's about it for right now.
Okay. I'm curious to hear more. I was kind of intrigued by it. Like, I do want to try it. I just don't want to pay $70 to try it. This is kind of one of
Yeah, I
those
paid
games
like
where
65 for mine, so
yeah, I'm hoping that it filters into either Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or like gets a deep discount during Black Friday because I miss enjoying Star Wars. There was a point in my
You know,
life where I. Sorry, go ahead, Duncan.
I was gonna say, I have one standard actually for
Mm-hmm.
whether or not I enjoy a Star Wars game,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and it's if a good lightsaber swing in there.
Oh,
Uh,
man, you must love the games the Titanfall people did, the Survivor and Fallen Order.
oh yes, yeah, I had a great time with those. I had a great time with those because good lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yes.
And makes me pretty easy to please in general with Star Wars. Um, Outlaws, from what I understand, is not a lightsaber game.
It is not.
Uh, which
No, it is. It is
which means it has an uphill battle for me.
It's a Han Solo simulator, is what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I so you know, for me, it's Star Wars as a whole. I just am entirely burnt out on. Just too much of it came out too fast with too wildly varying of quality. From like 2017 to present. Like I loved Fallen Order.
Yeah.
I barely got a quarter of the way into Survivor. I think it's a great game. I cannot be asked to give a fuck about Star Wars these days. It's so fucking hard for me, and just ugh. Um, yeah, I don't know, but this does look somewhat interesting. Like I said, it's kind of one of those games where if it hits a subservice or I can get it on the cheap, I'll probably give it a shot, just because I really fucking love Han Solo. But I don't know, man.
A
It's
good blaster shot can also do me in. So
the,
if I see that people are really liking it and I see a nice Kerchunkin shot,
mhm.
that might get me. But again, it's an uphill battle. It's a hard sell.
Do they have the Wilhelm scream in it at all?
I've experienced.
Hmm?
At least not yet.
Not
I
yet.
see.
Okay. Uh,
And is it really Star Wars?
no. Look, man,
Uh,
I'm one of those people where like I'm so jaded with Star Wars at this point. Like, I want everyone to take a good like 10-year break from anything new in the Star Wars universe.
yeah.
Like, I want a good 10 years off and then come back. But that's never gonna happen because it prints money.
Sure as
It is that
shit
money.
does.
It's got that money.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I'll get to what I've been playing. For quick updates, hey, Tekken 8, we did Friday Night Fights. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun. Uh, People continue to marvel at the level of parry I can do. Uh,
Nice.
War Within. I think that the second week of running heroics for gear is too long. I think they should have given us some harder content for week 2. Something like Mythic Zero or higher level delves, just to keep us tided over until this Tuesday when Raid and Mythic Plus are out.
Yeah.
Like heroics, if you are an experienced player, are so fucking easy that like Anthony and I are carrying conversation on about random bullshit, and the only time we ever get in any trouble at all is if I not even accidentally, just to stay awake, I'll be like, let's pull the whole room and the boss at the same time. See what
Yeah, let's go
happens.
stupid about it.
Let's go really stupid so I can actually be awake and not just be talking about random bullshit while I'm playing the game. Um,
Yeah.
So, other than that, though, it's been a fantastic expansion. This is the best story they've done since Legion. It looks great. The world events are a lot of fun. My favorite's the one where you play as part of a theater troupe. That's been really neat. All 4 zones are awesome. I love the kobold zone. Like you have this little kobold effectively trying to start a union. It's fucking hilarious.
That's pretty
And
good.
you kill the kobold king. So, yeah.
Mm.
Pretty good. Like I said, I'm liking it so far. I'm looking forward to this next week because it's when Mythic Zero launches and Raid launches, and I can't wait to geek out about all that shit on next week's podcast. Because that's what I play the game for, is the actual hard content.
Yeah.
I played that Black Ops 6 beta.
How's that?
It's really fun, dude. they made a really good COD. They made some tweaks to the gun crafting stuff to where it actually feels like it matters some more. The movement is so fast and so smooth. Just shooting people in that game feels good. Like when you get like a double kill and all the medals pop up and just like, oh, they've just, man, like Call of Duty gets a lot of shit for a lot of reasons, but that core gameplay loop is just fucking perfect. I will say that they added a new feature that's really funny and kind of fucked up. Duncan, as a fan
Hmm.
of social stupidity on the internet, you might get a laugh out of this.
I do love social stupidity on the internet.
So, basically, they had this feature where you can take hostages. Like, if you sneak up on someone, you can grab them and hold them. And
Okay.
it has proximity chat with it. So you can
Okay.
talk. So like, if I sneak up on you and we
Yeah.
both have microphones on, I can sneak up on you, hold you in a headlock at gunpoint, and use you as a shield, and walk you around and talk to you.
I like that a lot.
And the hostage can
Lot.
talk back. So like
That's really good.
you're getting a lot of clips on TikTok of people being like, "Hey, I'm coming up to you. Oh yeah, and just being total creepers." And then you have moments where like people are dragging their victim into the like you know into the shower and emulating certain activities. And
I remember in particular I saw a Call of Duty clip where a guy like kills another dude, and because of the proximity chat, the guy's like, "Dude, you're hacking. That's ridiculous." And he just like slowly explains to him how he killed him. And he's like, "No, no, 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 no. You need to learn today. You need to learn today about how this game works, all right? Because I did this and I did this, and that's how I was able to shoot you through a wall." And he was like, "All right, yeah, okay." And just the ability to have those sorts of engagements, it's great. It's great. I like the social bits. Gotta
I,
exploit the fact that you have a community.
I really hope. I don't know if you have Game Pass.
I do.
You should play some COD with us when this comes out. Uh,
I may well do so.
like you should definitely do that because man, I have a feeling this is gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, you have just a lot of weird interactions going on because of it though. Like just kind of creepy, bad implication interactions. Like you'll have people gang up on a sweaty guy in a match and then take him into the shower for other, for a different joke that's less fucked up, and things of that nature. It's just, oh man, I miss games having this proximity chat stuff. Like Halo used to have it and took it out eventually. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of reasons to take it out. It's that people are assholes, and
Yeah, people are
that's a lot. That
monsters.
most of what you get is people being terrible.
I mean, I just described something pretty terrible.
Yeah, but
You know,
I just love the
funny
funny
but
moments.
terrible. You know, funny but terrible is what I would describe what has been happening in most of my games with it. You know, but yeah, you know, I don't know. I think as a Call of Duty game though, it's one of the better ones, probably the best one in about 3 years from what I've played with the multiplayer. I'm hoping the campaign is good because most of the Black Ops campaigns have actually been pretty decent. And they're finally bringing back fucking zombies, so this is looking like a winner for them, which good.
That's good. That's good.
And I'm happy that I don't have to pay $70 for it now. Even better.
I'm
Uh,
happy enough to play it if it's on Game Pass, maybe.
sorry, what?
I said I'm happy enough to play it if it's on Game Pass, maybe.
Fair. Last game I played is Astrobot, which I kind of went over that during the PlayStation
Hmm.
news. That is a spectacular platformer. It's super good. I can't say enough nice things about it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if you are a PlayStation fan and over its history, you'll get a real kick out of it. Looks great. Nice to see it's made on a sane budget. I want to see a lot more, games like this on PlayStation. Like I want to see a lot more of these.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it would be certainly great if they had a lot more great releases like that.
also I forgot one game. I played Deadlock because I got the invite. Um, it, it's
I
it
have yet to properly invite you've given me yet.
it's too much MOBA for me.
Too much MOBA.
Too much. Just I played a couple of matches and they all ran 50 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes apiece.
That's
Uh,
pretty extreme.
pretty Dota, very Dota.
I
And
saw clips online of people being able to pause for everybody. Is that true?
I haven't seen it happen to me, but you know, who knows? Maybe.
Could be an experimental feature not everybody's using, but yeah, I was dying. It was hilarious. It was so funny. Just it's you pause the game and everyone pauses and
Yep.
everyone gets a 20-second pause. I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious."
That's what Madden does. Funnily enough, Madden you get 2 pauses a match, and it pauses for both people.
Very fitting for football.
Yes. Um. So yeah. I liked the core gameplay and shooting, and the heroes seem cool and deep. It's just it. I don't want to play a game where the matches are an hour long. I do not have the
Yeah,
wherewithal for
that's a hard
this.
sell.
Um. Yeah. Like that. That's I think the game looks great. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see where the developments take it. But yeah, I do not have the wherewithal for that. Also, if you want an invite to come play Deadlocked, everybody, just join the Super Gamecraft Discord and ping me, and we'll get you invited. So, anyway, Duncan, did you play
Uh,
anything
I've
this week?
played games. I have played games. So, the primary game I've been playing, like a lot, 89 hours in the last 2 weeks.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I have full dived into Noita, a charming indie game, that is physics-based wizard game.
Mm.
It's a roguelike. If you're familiar with back in the day on like Flash websites, they would have those sand engines that is literally just a box with a bunch of materials that you could put in it and watch them do stuff with each other.
Mm.
Uh, this game is very much inspired by those. It's what if you put an actual game in it. So it's pixel by
Oh,
pixel
I
simulated.
remember this fucking game. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I remember this shit.
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead.
Um, and a couple months ago, they had a major update, which is what attracted me to come back in, and see what was going on with it. And I was incredibly grabbed by the game really clicking with its experimentation. The level of like thought and consistency that you can get in with crafting wands, because so the format of the game, of course, is that it's a roguelike. So there's a hole, you go down the hole, get to the bottom of the hole, kill the boss, right? Pretty simple. uh but it's not actually that. It is tricking you into believing that that's what the game is. It's actually an open world exploration game.
Huh.
And so you at first are introduced like piece by piece as you have failed attempts. You go down the hole, you get into the first holy mountain by going through the portal at the bottom of a given level, and then in there it lets you change your wand, like what spells are on it. So this one has a little spark bolt that shoots out a bolt, and then oh, I found a spell that shoots bouncy balls, and I can switch it for the bouncy ball spell, and now I have a bouncy ball wand. And you're getting little modifiers like, oh, this makes the bouncy balls spin. This shoots them all in a spinning arc, and they do a little more damage. And you get little things like that. And the system allows for a degree of complexity to it with the massive variety of spells that exist. It's like 180 something plus spells that all have
Jesus
completely
fucking
unique
Christ.
interactions and interact with one another. um, there's these combinations you can make that will crash your computer instantly because the game does not cap the amount of interaction it allows you to do. So if you make something with an infinite recursive loop inside of your wand, you're allowed to do that. And it's like programming these wands. It's that level of complexity you can interact with, but you also don't need to interact with it on that complex of a level. You can also just go, I put the damage plus thing on there and I shoot a bunch of shots at them. And then the pixel by pixel simulation of the game leads to a really interesting level of interactivity with the environment. If you see a thing on fire and you're in an environment with wood and you don't have anything that allows you to effectively dig through a wall, and you can set that wall on fire and it will pixel by pixel burn away. But then it doesn't go away, it turns into smoke. Because the material doesn't stop existing, the conservation of matter is generally followed unless something else is completely erasing a piece of matter. And that level of focus on it is it doesn't exist in any other game. There is not a game like Noita on the market other than Noita. And it's also obsessed with ARG cryptography stuff. So there's
how?
yeah, so there are two major unsolved mysteries in Noita still, because as you exit the just roguelike part of the game, and you realize, oh, I can not go down the hole, and there's a whole world up here that has consistent things that spawn and has a bunch of mysteries and puzzles in it that have various rewards that lead to permanent unlocks in the game. You unlock new spells, you unlock buffs to your character and things like that by interacting with a bunch of mysteries in this larger world around the roguelike that you would normally be playing. Certain mysteries in that larger world are completely unsolved. Currently, it's the mystery of the cauldron room. There is a room that, if you've modified your game, will not spawn at all in the world, that has a cauldron in it that varies whether or not there's a liquid called void liquid that destroys stuff that it touches. That depending on the day on your system for your computer will or won't spawn in this cauldron, and that's all we know. And there's some kind of mystery there. It does something, but nobody has figured out what. The devs have confirmed that it does do something, that there is something going on, but not a single person has solved it, and it's been over 3 years.
So we have to wrap up soon, but I have two questions that have piqued my mind with this. One,
Yeah.
what got you playing into Noita 5 years after release?
I saw an update, and I had dabbled with the game to some extent. And I was like, yeah, let's see what that is. Let's see how that's going. And then I found a multiplayer mod that someone recently made online. And modded in multiplayer, and it was pretty good. And played it with a buddy, and it made it a lot more fun.
Okay.
So that got me in that. And then there's one other game that I played that I think is also very interesting called Abiotic Factor. And Abiotic Factor is a currently in development indie game that is it's like a survival game, but it's Half-Life 1.
Huh.
So it has survival crafting mechanics. It has like collect a bunch of garbage and craft things and make a base, but it's like you were in Black Mesa, and if the world of like if the level of Half-Life 1 was a lot more interconnected, and kind of more of a Metroidvania type layout, right?
Okay.
And you gain these crafting and base building mechanics that are just kind of there while you're effectively engaging in a Half-Life 1 style plot of aliens have invaded this thing due to a portal being opened incorrectly. It's very directly a Half-Life 1 inspired game. So it was a very interesting experience. Having it's also multiplayer, and there's RPG mechanics. There's quite a few RPG mechanics to your character, and it was just a really fascinating game. I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in that kind of experience. If you enjoyed Half-Life 1, you'd probably enjoy this game.
I did enjoy Half-Life 1.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I think that's it. We'll be back next week. Duncan, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome back.
Yeah, no problem. It was a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah, fun stuff. As usual, if you're coming in late, you missed it. This will be on the YouTubes on I'll say Tuesday-ish, maybe Wednesday, but we'll see. And then please like, subscribe, follow, etc. Yeah. As always, our schedule this week: Friday Night Fights. This week it is the Marvelous Capcom Collection because it's out on Thursday. Finally, finally the Marvels. Um, yeah, and then on Thursday is ranking the PS2. I don't know what game we're doing yet. I might just load up the emulator and see what game looks good. And then last but not least is next Sunday will be the podcast like normal. Alright guys, we love you. You have an excellent rest of your weekend and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.
I